Have you ever spent a lot of time, let's say, planning a trip? So you think about this beautiful destination that you want to go to. You research the hotels and the best places to eat. You figure out the airport to fly into, and then you go and you present the idea. And the person that you say it to says, you say, what do you think about this idea? Would you love to go on this trip? And they say, yes, but. And there it is. The one word that destroys that supportive yes and creates an entire feeling of negativity and judgmentalism. One word. Welcome to Momentum Live. I'm Brooke Scutt. So yes, but think about how many times you've heard that, whether it's been in business with a performance review. We think you're doing a great job, but we think you could improve here. We tend to follow a supportive statement, a yes, with a negative but. And what happens is when someone says yes, but to you, your response, your inside, internal feeling, I should say, is that your thoughts have been discounted, that what you're saying isn't important. And when I figured out that I said this so often to my kids. So they would say, Mommy, what do you think if we could go do this? And I'd say, well, yes, but you have to eat your lunch first. So anyway, I started to think about this. And one of the things about yes, but, especially with the scenario in my kids, is that we tend to speak quickly and react without actually thinking through. So that ends up shutting down the other person. So improv techniques says, instead of yes, but, you should say yes, and. What a simple word, right? We switch from but to and. Yes, and states that in addition to, as opposed to instead of, if that makes sense. And is more inclusive than it is negating somebody's idea. And when you say, talking about planning a trip, yes, and we can figure out how to budget and save for this amazing trip that you're planning. Yes, and while we do that, I would love to go snorkeling. Yes, and then what happens is, the person that you say yes and to feels heard, valued, and supported, versus feeling judged, and then their ideas negated. So think about that. How simple is that? And again, I said it was an improv technique, the yes and. So, stage improvisation where actors have to, ask each other questions or try to figure out how to keep a scene going on that has, no script. That phrase is incredibly powerful. So they're building on each other, whatever the storyline is, whatever's been handed off to them. Yes, and we could do this. Yes, and what about that? And yes, and again, it creates this exciting momentum. And it really does allow you to listen, and you have to hear, therefore creating, innovation and creativity on the back end of that. So think about that. I challenge you to think about, listen to yourself. How many times a day do you say yes, but? And starting tomorrow, or maybe later this afternoon, try saying yes and. Figure out how you can practice that. It doesn't come easy because, again, we're so programmed to respond quickly and react. But think about those moments where you can slow down, hear, tell that person they've been supportive, and then start building on what they said as opposed to negating what they said. I hope you guys found this valuable. Have a great Monday and a great week, and I'll see you guys next week.